Me and the Lord, we got an understanding. We're on a mission from God.
Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Bucky Beaver. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great day. It's kind of crazy here in Cowboys land. It's been, wow, that's all I can say. Tonight, we have the last preseason game for us. And in 13 days, we take on the Philadelphia Eagles, which has been lost in the, it's just been lost. It's been lost in the whole Micah Parsons versus Jerry Jones. Now, I'm going to say with Micah Parsons dropping the Dallas Cowboys on his Instagram is the same thing that CeeDee Lamb did last year. And then 2 weeks later, he ended up getting his contract. Jerry Jones, the man who ultimately says he's about stirring shit up. That's what he says. Let's go to the tape.
I do believe if we're not being looked at, then I'll do my part to get us looked at. The beautiful thing for networks or, if you will, streaming companies is that the NFL is a 365-day-a-year interest factor. A lot of programming, you have to spend as much to make it, to promote it, as you do to make it. The Cowboys are a soap opera 365 days.
The screening will begin
when it gets slow.
Please take your seats.
And so it's wonderful to have the great athletes, have the great players. But there's something more there. There's sizzle, there's emotion. And if you will, there's controversy. That controversy is good stuff in terms of keeping and having people's attention.
Controversy is good stuff in keeping people's attention. Well, you got everybody's attention. And you're getting everybody no longer focused in on the Eagles. That's just kind of like a sidebar. So we went through the whole process yesterday. We ended up watching the Michael Irvin interview, okay, in real time, and listening to Jerry Jones literally go on about, that he told him to shove it up his ass. Now, the way it came across was like he actually said, go shove this up your ass. But it may be that Jerry Jones, plausible deniability, because this thing just kind of grabbed a hold of legs and just ran with it. I did a video with Simus, and Simus definitely believes, just like I do, that this is more drama for your mama. And that this is about Jerry Jones, of course, stirring this shit up. That it's darkest before the dawn, and in the last minute, boom, chakalaka, it's done. So we had Ryan Clark, who went to Micah's agent and asked him, did you actually say shove it up his ass? And he's like, no, man. He's like, I never use terms like that. But basically, that's the feeling that you have from Jerry Jones, who is, mind you, by far the oldest GM in the NFL. And for Jerry Jones going through and saying that, when you're about to pay a player that kind of money and this, that, and the other, you want to be sure. I'm not sure that there's anything else that he can do to prove that he should be the highest paid. He's shown up even when he didn't have the deal. And let's be clear here. For Jerry Jones to continually say, oh, we went through this stuff with Dak, that's not apples to apples, because a quarterback is protected. A quarterback is a known commodity. Even in the interview with Michael Irvin, he said, which is more important, the quarterback or the edge rusher? Of course, they both agreed. It's the quarterback. So it's a little disingenuous to say, oh, well, he'll get his money. We got his control for 3 more years. But here's the thing, okay? And see, some people don't necessarily understand, because we were like, oh, we'll just franchise tag him. Okay. You don't have to franchise tag him right now. If you look at Micah Parsons' contract, okay, Micah Parsons ended up signing his rookie contract, okay, that was worth, contract value was worth $17 million, okay? $17 million. Fully guaranteed money, okay? That's what he got as a rookie, okay? So his cap number, after his signing bonus and everything else, was $3 million the first year, 3.8, 4.6, and last year 5.43. That's the cap numbers. So now this is the 5th-year option, which is basically like, we're going to hold your rights for another year. You're going to get a big payday. It's $24 million. That's a big bump up from $5 million that he got last year. Okay? So he still has money there, be that as it may. If you franchise tag him after this year, and see, here's the problem for Micah is, if he gets hurt this year, he'll never get another dime. He'll never get another contract. If he gets, a permanent injury. We saw Bo Jackson on a run basically degenerate his hip and wasn't able to play anymore. Those things do happen in football. Next year, it would be a $26 million hard hit. Okay? Hard hit. And mind you, right now, Micah Parsons is the 31st highest cap hit in the NFL because it's a hard number. See, if they get a contract, his cap number will go down. In the same way that CeeDee Lamb, his annual salary is $34.5 million, his cap number is only $14 million this year. If the Cowboys get him a deal done, he will go from about 31st cap hit highest to about 130, freeing up more capital and giving you flexibility. If they were to tag him next year, the projected tags for defensive ends are $26 million, 26.5. Okay? Yeah, you could do that. But again, that's a hard number. And for Micah, it's the same risk back-to-back seasons that if I get injured, I never get paid again. You could franchise tag him again after that, in which case it's a 30% increase, which brings it up to about, somewhere in the low 30s for that cap number. But again, it's a hard number. So when you look at somebody like Jalen Hurts, who's got his, $52 million a year deal, and his cap number is like 25, it's because they have a long-term deal that they can play funny money with the cap numbers. So for the Cowboys, having him play on the 5th-year option and then franchise tagging them is the most expensive way to have him on the roster, which will make it harder to put others on the team. So for a rehash, now here's part of the problem. YouTube is taking over. Let's be clear here. Everybody is watching YouTube because it's like in real time. ESPN is becoming more like a dinosaur. So this morning, Get Up. By the time Get Up talks about it today, we've already gone through the Jerry Jones going on Fox News talking about it, the Michael Irvin interview, Ryan Clark basically saying, Jerry Jones, you're a liar, and then Micah Parsons unfollowing the Cowboys. And now it's the first shot that Get Up has. So let's go to the tape and listen to this.
All right. All hands are very much on deck this morning. As you can see, it is just lunacy.
You see how excited they are, right? You see, oh, Jerry Jones done it for us now. We got all kinds of shit to talk about.
By the way, Joe Fortenbaugh and I are wearing the same jacket. You can tell us apart. I'm the one without the mustache.
That is very clearly a Merlot. This is a Burgundy. I would expect more from you, Greenberg.
Fair enough. Well, you're the sommelier. I'm merely the fashionista. Let's go. No more wasting time. Let's go to Dallas because this is insane. The standoff between Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons went insane last night. Talking to Michael Irvin on his YouTube channel, Jerry Jones said the agreement he believed he made with Parsons would have made him the highest paid guaranteed player other than a quarterback in the NFL. He then unloaded on Parsons' agent, David Mulligetta. You have to hear this to believe it.
When we wanted to send the details to the agent told us to stick it up our ass.
Wait, now see, I was
Just so you're clear.
Wait. What do you mean? So wait. What do you mean? Because people are going to ask.
Mike and I talked, and then we were going to send it over to the agent. And we had our agreements on term, amount, guarantees, everything. We were going to send it over to the agent, and the agent said, "Don't bother, because we've got all that to negotiate." Well, I'd already negotiated. I'd already moved off my mark on several areas. And so the issue, very frankly, is we've had the negotiation in my mind. And the agent's trying to get his nose in it right now and try to come in there and improve off the mark that we'd already set. It's the mama-daddy deal. You go into mama, and she won't do it. And she's the boss, so much. She won't do it. So you run into daddy. Daddy says do it. And then you go back in and say, Mama, daddy said it was all right.
Mom and daddy said it was all right.
Oh, my God. So that happened, and there's much, much more that we will get to. Bartholomew, I was watching your facial expressions. What?
That's not his line. What does he mean? The agent wants to get involved. That's his job. That's literally what his job is.
To be clear, the agent wants to stick his nose in it.
Right.
Like he's getting nosy about doing his job. It's absurd.
I don't understand it. That's just like Michael Parsons going to negotiate with Schottenheimer. like you wouldn't accept it. Like that's the protocol. Like I don't understand why he would think he can circumvent and go around the actual agent and talk to the player. And he thinks I'm going to send you, I'm going to inform you what me and the player talked about. That's not how things work.
There is a history of this, though, in Dallas, right, Dan? You and I have talked about it. But to be very clear, Dan and all of our reporters have been telling us for weeks, Jerry believes that he and Micah Parsons made a deal. You just heard it directly from him. And it sounds like it was a negotiation. It wasn't just, how about this? Okay, I'll take it. It sounds like they went back and forth. Jerry saying he moved off his mark. So by excluding the agent from it, which he essentially has done here, is that violating anything? Is there a rule against that?
There's not. It's obviously bad form. But it's the Cowboys, and this is how they operate. When you talk to people around this situation, agents and people who've negotiated deals with the Cowboys, they'll say this is part of their process. Dak Prescott had to have dinner with Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones in training camp and talk contract. Tony Romo, Jason Witten, all these guys. The difference is they didn't go in there and talk numbers. Right? And so Dak Prescott had his dinners with these guys and, we want to be, anytime the conversations turn to numbers, it's, you got to call my agent. I'm not going to do the numbers with you. My agent is. Apparently what happened in this case is Micah didn't say that. He said some numbers and they felt like they went back and forth. Jerry said, I already moved off my mark. So he felt like they were in a negotiation.
Right.
Now, that's either naive or it's, revisionist history, but this is the point he's decided to stand on here, and he believes he made a strong offer and that Micah should either take it or play out his current contract and get franchised next year. And that's where it stands. It's not like the Dak situation where this time last year they were still negotiating and Dak was practicing. It's a very, very different situation.
I mean, it feels like Jerry Jones is Rumpelstiltskin here, and he's trying to do a deal. And the reality is the agent should be the one dealing between the mother and Rumpelstiltskin and giving away her firstborn, because that's what happens when you don't have an agent. You end up accidentally doing something that you shouldn't do, because there are professionals for a reason. Agents are agents for a reason.
Yeah.
And I understand that there's not anything in the CBA that says that this can't happen, but it's common sense for everyone else in the league except Jerry Jones. So maybe this is the thing that gets something formally put down in the next CBA negotiation. Maybe that is a perfect world. I'm oversimplifying it, but it just seems like until you put down specific guardrails to keep Jerry from doing it.
You can't make a rule against everything. There are some things that are just understood to
rules.
be common practice, and that, like you cannot make a rule to prohibit every action. I think that I understand where Jerry's coming from, but to your point, they hadn't talked about numbers. In this situation, if the deal is not signed and someone says, I hired a professional to do this for me, it seems absurd to then say, oh no, I refuse to speak to the professional that you hired. That to me seems like unfair and selfish.
Okay, so let me make sure there's two things that we should clarify. One of them is you heard what Jerry said, the agent said. Ryan Clark, who is also represented by David Mulligata, reached out to him, and the agent, David Mulligata, says he never used that language. I don't think Jerry was trying to be quoting him specifically. It was sort of a generally told us to stick.
Yeah, the money quote, obviously, earlier, but then he also says later, he told us don't bother. So it's two different ways of saying the same thing. So what he's saying is, we had a deal. I sent it over to the agent, say, look this over, make sure everything's cool, because Micah and I negotiated this. And the agent said, Micah didn't negotiate his deals. I do. Right? So let's actually have a conversation about this.
To be clear, he didn't use the word stick it up your whatever.
He may have, but who knows?
Well, we don't think he did. David Mulligata told RC he said that.
Exactly.
And that isn't really the most important part of this, but it's the most entertaining. Then there is the response from Micah Parsons. Micah has responded to this in the way people respond in this day and age. First, he cited a passage from the Bible in the book of Micah. In which he posted, even if I fall, I will rise. The Lord is my light.
That is better than third person.
And then he scrubbed any mention of the Dallas Cowboys from his social media. If you look at how he describes himself, Penn State 2021, and then TBD, to be determined. Now,
passive aggressive.
Whenever we have biblical issues, we always turn immediately to Brooke, who can give us the meaning of the passage.
In fact, yes, my dad entered the ministry just for this moment right now so that I could text him at 7 a.m. and say, what does the book of Micah mean? And I asked him about that verse, and he said that Micah is talking about strength through faith in God. Don't think he knew much about football, so that's Bible study with the Priors. But
touchdown Jesus.
That is exactly right. Look, this is just a play straight out of how it goes with this. I'm kind of surprised he hadn't
just the fact that Jerry Jones is saying the agent told me to stick it where, and Micah is quoting from the book of Micah. You just can't ask for any more than we have here. But where does it leave us? Dominique, this is my point.
Yeah.
We are 13 days away. This is all fun and games. And again, if Jerry wants to program the A block of get up every single day, I'm just fine with that. Take that problem off our hands. But they have a whole other problem, which is that 2 weeks from yesterday, they're playing the defending champs in their building on national TV for the whole world to watch. There's no, seen what we've just seen, there's no chance in the world Micah Parsons plays in that game.
So I think every person and every business kind of has a priority stack of things that are most important to them. And oftentimes you don't have to put those things at odds with one another. So you're never asked to actually stack those things. And sometimes you're put in a situation where you have to decide what is more important to you, marketing the Dallas Cowboys or winning week 1. And it seems clear to me, for at least one person in the Dallas Cowboys organization, being on TV, programming the A block of all types of TV shows is more important to that person than getting their best players in camp and ready for practice.
And that's why the Dallas Cowboys can't have sustainable success, because it's always a distraction. It's always something. Right now, you're focusing on having to play the champs, right, who already is tough sledding. You're probably picked in your division to be the third best team, and you have a brand new coach, and now you have the best defensive player in football that's not going to be available. You're going to be tasked to try and stop these teams, and you can't get off to a slow start. You have to get off to a fast start, because it's also important when you have a new coach to be able to get the team to buy into his message. We can't buy in when you're telling us that the most important thing is the soap opera and not the X and O's and about going about the business and winning. You're basically wasting my time as a defender, wasting years that I can't get back because I have a life expectancy in the NFL. Jerry Jones could be the owner as long as he's alive.
Brian Schottenheimer is that new coach. We heard from him the other day. He said it repeatedly, Dan. I expect Micah Parsons to be on the field 2 weeks from yesterday.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I understand these things can change. I understand how performative things in Dallas sometimes feel, and that all this can change on a dime. But when his Twitter bio now says Penn State and TBD, and he hasn't practiced, and we're less than 2 weeks from the game, it feels extraordinary.
Can you say Jerry Jones is winning? He's got it down pat. It's a done deal. This is what Jerry Jones needs. It's about everything other than winning. I'm Mark Holmes, and I got work to do. We've got a game tonight. I really don't want to see Milton throw anymore, but we're going to. We'll talk about the game a little bit later. As always, I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you.